and pre-mix each of the stems. Let's do this. All right, channel routing, select route by channel. Cool. So now we have the loop on each stem on the mixer channel, and then usually what I'll do is I'll create a mix bus. This is something new that I've been doing. So I'll highlight each of the stems, and then I'll come down here, and I'll put all the stems on a singular bus. So blue will be the bus for the loops. I'm just gonna go ahead and recolor these real quick, just so I don't get confused when I do my drums. Cool. So the dark will be the loop. Cool. All right, so let's go ahead and pre-mix the stems. All right, so as you can tell, the loop is already semi-loud. I like to make my drums sound a little bit more prominent over the loop. You don't want the loop to be too high in volume. So we'll do it stem by stem. So first one is then I'm going to throw a parametric EQ on here and just take out some of the high ends and lower the volume like that as well. So basically what that does is when you bring in your drums, sometimes like a lot of your drums like open hats and hi-hats, they're like drums that are high on the high end, right? So you don't want to have your stem and your high end drums clashing. So what this allows is when you bring down some of the high end in the stem, it'll allow your hi-hat to, to be more prominent. Whereas if you had everything hitting at the same level, it would just sound muddy, and like the hi-hats you wouldn't really be able to hear. So that's that stem. So the next one. Usually with pad and leads, I'll go ahead and lower the low end just because I noticed like a lot of loop makers, they'll send me pads and stems that are like really high on the low end, sometimes even super high on the high end. And then, like I said, it just kind of makes your drums sound cluttered. So we're going to go ahead and lower some of the lows real quick. Now we're going to lower some of the highs real quick. And then usually what I do is I come over here to this right here and I just kind of drag this down a little bit. So that way it allows the kick in the 808 to get through. Hitting this guy right here basically swaps the stereo. So like this kind of gives it more of like a wider sound. Drag it to the left side a little bit. Now as you can hear, the piano is a little bit more prominent rather than the pad and the piano, matching in volume. You don't want that. You want to be able to separate them so one sound comes through more than the other. That right there to me sounds a little bit too loud. I don't want to hear that over both of these two, so I'm going to go ahead and lower this real quick. Same thing, throw a parametric EQ on it. Now it's not as prominent. The pad and the piano actually get through. You still hear that, but the rest of it's still coming through. Alright, so with bass subs, usually what I do is because I definitely like to have punchy kicks and great 808s. So usually what I'll do with the bass subs is I'll just kind of come right here and I'll bring down some of the lows. That way it allows, like I said, the kick and the 808 to get through. And then I'll raise it in volume because sometimes when you cut out the lows, it also affects the volume. And then just to be sure, I'm going to come in here with the EQ. You don't want to do it too much, but you want the kick and the 808 to be able to come through. So yeah, so that's my pre-mix of the loop right now. We're going to mix the drums real quick. And we're going to put all these in the mixer channel, including the main drum loop.